convention center, or Carnegie Hall, or walking in the neighborhood. We lived, after all, less than a mile apart. I could have laid eyes on them dozens of times and never really noticed them, just as I very possibly did that night. I did see other people I knew. Elaine and I talked briefly with Ray and Michelle Grulio. Elaine introduced me to a woman she knew from a class she'd taken several years ago at the Metropolitan, and to a terribly earnest couple who'd been customers at her shop. I introduced her to Avery Davis, the real estate mogul whom I knew from the Club of 31, and to one of the fellows passing the hors d'oeuvre trays whom I knew from my AA home group at St. Paul's. His name was Felix, and I didn't know his last name, and don't suppose he knew mine. And we saw some people we recognized but didn't know, including Barbara Walters and Beverly Sills. The occasion was the opening of New York's Summer Music Festival, mostly Mozart, and the cocktails and dinner were the festival's thank you to its patrons, who had achieved that status by contributing $2,500 or more to the festival's operating fund. During her working years, Elaine made a habit of saving her money and investing it in rental property around town. New York real estate had been a can't-lose area, even for people who do everything wrong, and she did most things right and has done very well for herself. She was able to buy our apartment at the Park Vendôme, and there's enough income generated by her apartment houses in Queens so that as far as money is concerned, neither of us needs to work. I have my work as a detective, of course, and she has her shop a few blocks south of us on 9th Avenue, and we enjoy the work and can always find a use for the money it brings in. But if nobody hired me or bought paintings and antiques from her, we wouldn't wind up missing any meals. We both like the idea of giving away a certain amount of what comes in. Years ago I got in the habit of stuffing 10% of my earnings into whatever church poor box came along. I've grown a little more sophisticated in my giving since then, but I still find a way to get rid of it. Elaine likes to support the arts. She gets to more operas and gallery openings and museum shows than I do, and fewer ball games and prize fights, but we both like music, classical and jazz. The jazz joints don't hit you up for contributions. They just call it a covered charge and let it go at that. But every year we write out a lot of checks to Lincoln Center and Carnegie Hall. They like to encourage us with perks of one sort or another, and this evening was one of them. Drinks, a sit-down dinner, and complimentary orchestra seats to the opening concert. Around 6:30 we went to our assigned table, where we were joined by 3 other couples with whom we exchanged names and chatted amiably throughout the meal. If pressed, I could probably recall the names of most, if not all, of our table mates. But what's the point? We haven't seen them since, and they don't figure in the story. Byrne and Susan Hollander were not among them. They were at another table, which I later learned was on the other side of the room from us. While I might have seen them earlier, it's unlikely that I laid eyes on them during dinner. Their seats for the concert were just 2 rows in front of ours, but at the extreme right of the center section, while we were toward the left, so unless we bumped into each other on the way to the restroom during intermission, I don't suppose we would have seen them at all. The meal was pretty good, the company at dinner pleasant enough. The concert was very enjoyable, and, true to its stated theme, leaned toward Mozart, including one of his piano concertos and the Prague Symphony. There was an orchestral suite of Antonin Dvorak as well, and the program notes drew some connection between him and Mozart, or perhaps between him and Prague, Dvorak being a Czech. Whatever it was, I didn't pay too much attention to it. I just sat there and enjoyed the music, and when it was done, we walked home. Did the Hollanders walk home? It's hard to know one way or the other. No cab driver came forward to report driving them, but neither did anyone recall seeing them on the street. They could have taken a bus, but no one reported witnessing that either. I think they probably walked. She was wearing heels, which might have lessened her enthusiasm for a half-mile hike, but they were both in good shape, and it was a perfect night for a leisurely walk home, not too warm, not too humid. There are always a lot of cabs after a concert, but there are